subscribe, smash that like button.
Because right now we only got 3 viewers.
We have just a few.
Well, I'm sorry, we got 6.
So,
yes,
people, we are here for episode number 333 of Cup Half Full. I rub my nose like that. Yeah.
No, I don't like it. You saw it. It's one you ain't broke.
What is it? Starting the damn podcast.
It's a podcast. We talk, right?
Yeah, but I wanted to start it, introduce it.
Oh, my apologies. Go ahead.
Somebody had to touch mine. Oh my God. So podcast number 3, and we're kind of lagging behind a little bit. We've been busy out of town and stuff like that. So, but we're trying to get the show on the road and excited about the podcast. So,
what was all that?
I don't know.
You just talking about me, and then you doing the.
I talked about you rubbing your nose when I was doing
the wiggle the worm. Squiggles the worm. That was a Parliament thing. Squiggle, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sing it.
Huh?
We're going to talk about music, so why don't you talk about Parliament?
No. Parliament Funkadelics.
That's right. Yeah. So talk about Squiggles.
He was a worm.
And?
A sonic worm.
Okay. And?
He could swim underwater and not get wet. You know, he could just do this.
And give us a verse in the song, because you're a very good singer. So what would you give us a verse? Rap a verse.
It wasn't a rap.
Do it. I know it was a song.
I can't remember it off the top of my head. If I hear it, I can.
Can't play it on here.
I know. We get what?
Claimed.
That's the word.
Banned.
You
can't put music on.
You get pulled off, right?
You don't get pulled off. No. If you're live streaming, you can get shut down or whatnot. But
I'm trying to remember. Wiggles a worm. I can't remember how it goes. Not your ordinary worm, something like that. Wiggles a worm. I can swim underwater and not get wet.
That's Funkadelic. So
yeah, that's Parliament Funkadelic. It was the whole thing. Parliament Funkadelic. Then it was a group Funkadelic, but then it was a Parliament Funkadelic.
And then there was Parliament.
Right. They split off. Then they had the girls.
Yeah. So give the people a little, without telling our age, what year do you think that?
Parliament Funkadelics?
Yeah. That was in
78.
78-ish. Okay.
Late 70s.
Yeah. So
Bootsy Collins, all them guys. They all played in the band.
Bootsy Collins. Do you guys know Bootsy Collins? If you don't, Google him right now.
Bootsy Collins. Bootsy's Rubber Band. That's the name of the album. Bootsy's Rubber Band. All right. He was a bass player. Played with James Brown in his band back in the day.
James Brown. Yeah. That was when bands were bands and instruments.
Well,
and I get so much hate about, my reaction videos, which are reactions. They're my reaction on the damn Cup Boys channel. And
you can curse?
Yeah.
Oh. Damn.
But don't say that F word.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, I know, but let's not get too crazy. Anyway, thing about it is, people judge me.
Because I don't know if they judge you or that's just their opinion.
They think it's a reaction to a song. And all I'm doing is reacting to a song. But I grew up in a different generation, hence what you just described, a band, music, playing, whatever. And the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac,
Beatles,
the Gap Band, Earth, Wind and Fire,
Fleetwood Mac,
the Eagles, Chicago.
You said the Eagles twice.
Yeah.
Kansas,
Bachman Turner Overdrive, Leonard Skinner,
LTD.
I mean, LTD. We can go Heat Wave on.
Ray Parker Jr.
There you go, on and on and on and on.
But they were all bands.
Oh, hey, on and on and on and on.
That's not a band. Don't
stop till the break of dawn.
That's not a band.
I know, but who is it?
Sugar Hill Gang.
Hey. That's right. So we're used to that type of music. So
that was rap, but that
was rap back in.
And they had
the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a band.
No, but what I'm saying it's when I talk about my opinion on the music in those videos and I say synthesized music, there's nothing real band-like music. That's the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm so used to instruments. That's where the barrier is between
That's a band.
Yeah, it's a band.
Yeah, you had a piano. You probably had a bass. You might have had 2 or 3 guitars. One was a lead.
Prince.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my God, he had a band.
Yeah,
That was
but
amazing.
those were bands. They weren't music that they did a machine, like they have a machine that they did.
I mean, I have to. I mean, I applaud them. Yay, applaud them for moving into the new, way things are. But I mean, I feel like it's so
What?
different. I mean, and
Some
so
of it is different. I mean, like 24 Golden. He's got guitar riffs in it. Post Malone, he sits down and plays the guitar
he
solo.
does. I mean, those people I really love.
They're musicians.
Well, Golden has a guy who plays. He
doesn't play it, but
Omar. Yeah, Omar plays
but
for him. Yeah.
The guy we went to see at the baseball stadium.
The one who got tired and
sat down. Very,
God,
very talented, which you wouldn't know, instrument wise. He sat down and played the piano.
Who was that guy?
I can't think of it now.
Or like he got so tired in the middle of playing that he just
sat down. But he was very talented. I mean, he's a very skilled piano player. But you wouldn't have known that because all he did, was basically rap. He didn't have anything out there that showed that he was, instrumentally inclined.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
That's all. And then if you grew up playing an instrument, you listen to all type of stuff.
Well, you did.
Yeah. Well.
Played the piano.
Yeah, and I play the guitar now. But I had to learn all those different genres because the lady that taught us, if you didn't
when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Your piano
5th grade.
lessons, yeah.
5th grade, 4th grade. Yeah, 4th grade. 4th grade all through high school.
No.
Yeah. Made a deal with the devil.
No. Your parents aren't the devil.
No. Well, no, I take it back. I love my mom to death. She's no longer here. My father's here, but my mom's no longer here. But no, the deal was that, I could take these piano lessons, but I had to do it from that point until I graduated from high school. And so it wasn't like we had a whole lot of money. So we're in the mall at Kids Music.
Yeah, I remember Kids Music.
And I go in there, and they had the piano was playing, and then I would go in there and sit down and play, and then my grandmother played, and then I played some of her songs that she was playing by ear. So I thought it'd be cool, but they were like, "Okay, we're not buying this piano." And to this day, I don't know how much it costs. But what you can do is we'll sign you up for lessons. Mm-hmm. And in the back of the 1st grade reader book for the piano lessons, it was a keyboard.
1st grade or 1st step?
No, 1st grade. It was 1st grade book. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they had the keyboard. It was like half a real keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I had to do was, when I started lessons, I had to practice on the paper keyboard. And
on paper.
On paper. Yeah. You fold it back and pull the book out. The last 2 pages of the book was the keyboard.
Oh.
And so then I would go to Miss Denison's house, which is right around the corner. And then I sit there and then get to play on her piano. I had to do that for a year before I was, quote, dedicated enough for them to spend the money, because it was a lot of money to buy a piano. So that's how I ended up getting the piano. And then I had to take lessons once a week, and then started 10 minutes and 15 and half an hour and 45 and then an hour. By the time I got to an hour, I was like, I don't want to do this no more. But I had signed a contract. I signed a contract. But she made sure that you learned all type of music. That's why I like classical music. That's why I like jazz, because it was no way she was going to let you just play one genre. And then you had a recital every year. So each year she changed up the genre that you played. So, you're getting this big old church that fit like 2,000, 1,500 people, whatever it was. It was huge. And your family was there, and you dressed up, and you had a little bow tie or tie, and she's on the front row, and you up there playing. And she introduced you. You walk down, and that was the deal for.
Rhonda had lessons and went to a recital or two.
Yeah, wasn't no two.
Recital.
It was from 4th grade to 12th.
No, she was short lived, but that's my sister. But
but I had a contract.
They bought you the piano and you were undercut. They bought it because they said you have to continue.
Well, that was the deal.
That
was the deal. So growing up, I listened to rock and roll. I listened to rap music. I listened to country music. What else?
Jazz,
jazz.
classical,
Yeah. So
everything.
so when you play an instrument and somebody teaches you like that, you see where everything kind of evolved. It kind of all evolved from jazz, and you see how different points of it, can go over
Yeah.
here, go over there, and there, and then you appreciate more music. That's why I know all these different types of music like rap or funk or jazz or reggae, stuff that certain people around me just couldn't stand me listening to when we were when we
Yeah.
were growing up.
I mean, I was exposed to music a lot. I like music a lot. My mom was one of those people that didn't like the TV on, so she'd rather hear music than the TV. And it's funny because when I bring it up now, I don't know that she remembers, but she used to play like Barbara Streisand and
I like Barbra
a whole
Streisand.
bunch of different people, Whitney Houston on her stereo in the house and listened to a
They
lot of
might not even know
music.
what a stereo is.
A stereo, like a stereo. And
Back in the day, it was a
tuner.
piece of furniture.
Well, no, I mean you could have a stereo and then a record player.
Yeah, but
and
most
then a tuner.
depending on your money, back in the day,
You had
it was a piece of furniture.
well,
Like the one we're trying to get from Pops.
they had a piece of furniture back in the day, but then they went to stereo pieces. Units.
Right, but when I was little,
Yeah.
it was an actual piece of furniture. If you didn't
like
know,
a TV.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
like a floor
TV,
console,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
opened
yeah.
up in the middle, and the speakers on the side, but it looked like a table,
Yeah.
a cabinet,
Like a cabinet.
yeah,
a
it looked like a
buffet.
cabinet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know that it was stereo, I mean, you would think that it was a piece of furniture, So, but then,
It's
like
true.
you said, they went from that to
like
a record player, and then two big old woofers and
and
tweeters,
a speaker and a tuner and a
Yeah.
cassette player and this and that. We had the recently we saw the reel-to-reel music.
Well, I had one.
Well, yeah,
we donated it.
Yeah, and then my parents every Christmas we'd
I don't know
go
if they know what a reel-to-reel is. Though.
a reel-to-reel. It's like
a piece of tape, a film, and you had two big plastic reels,
right,
and you could play music for. If you had the whole reel filled up, you could play music for about 3 or 4 hours. You could get that much music on it, and it hooked up to the tuner, which is the main system for your player, which went to your speakers and went to your turntable for your record player. But when I was in college, it was easier to put all that music on there than to have listen to this music and have to get up and change the record. And so, but you made me sell it. You made me donate it. It went away.
Anyways. Woo, sad story. Poor Wendell. But no, we had friends called, they were Smokey and Laura, and he worked for Broadcast of America, I believe.
ABC.
Broadcast of America.
It's American Broadcasting Channel, ABC.
Broadcast America, something. Anyways, for years and years and years. And so he had reel-to-reel music, and we'd go every New Year, every Christmas Eve to their house, and it was always reel-to-reel music. But
because you didn't have to worry about changing it.
You hit that music. And
you recorded it. That's what you did. You
it was like a piece of film. Yeah, like a reel. Yeah. But very crazy to think. But like now, when Cameron used to get on me, I'm like, well, let me put it on my phone. To me, it's so different to listen to music like that. That's why we're developing a collection of vinyls music.
And we have a lot now. Anyway.
Yeah, we have some vinyls from our childhood. Right. But just like today, I contacted that lady who's doing downsizing, which we're supposed to be doing.
Frampton.
But she has a lot of classic
rock
music,
and roll.
rock and roll.
Well,
albums.
she might have more, but we saw.
She's got some Led Zeppelin albums. We're going Wednesday night to look at what.
But I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
When you listen to bands, a good part of your life.
Yeah.
And then you go to concerts.
Yep.
And you see people actually playing different instruments. And then all of a sudden you go from that point to people just putting it on a machine and mixing it.
Well, yeah. Okay. So one of the somebody that's not back in the 70s is Dave Matthews Band, one of our all-time favorites. Yeah. Right? And
he's an 80s band because when I was in.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know if he's 80s or 90s.
Oh, no. Because he was playing in Charlottesville. In the 80s,
but he's still playing that music.
Yeah.
So now when and I love it too. I mean, I love some of the rap music, and I really do. But it's called a sound over or whatever they call it, where they play their song in the background.
Sampling.
Well, I don't know if it's sampling.
It is sampling because
They're playing their music.
What's his name did it? He's the one that really started. The dude that had his own television show at one time, like Making the Band. He's from New York. He went to Howard University. He's got a bottle of alcohol brand.
This is what,
yeah, you said it. But he has a clothing line, and he has an alcohol line. You know who he is.
Okay, and we're old and we can't remember who.
Yeah, but anyhow,
anyway,
he did it with Biggie Smalls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he started sampling, and then the other guy who's now a preacher, he started all that sampling stuff. Where
who is it?
I can't
Google
think of his name.
While we're talking. So my point is about it is it's so frustrating because when the rappers get out and I'm at Rolling Loud or Summer Smash or whatever, and I'm watching and I'm like loving these guys because I'm meeting them and I'm interviewing them and they're so like kind-hearted and good people.
P. Diddy.
Yeah,
okay, he started that sampling stuff.
Let me finish my thought real quick.
Oh, you was talking.
Yeah.
I was looking stuff up. My brain was over here. My brain was over here on the phone.
So here's the thing. I mean, when I'm hearing that and I'm hearing this song in the background and I'm hearing them jump around and sing and then they stop singing, the music keeps playing. It's like their backgrounds. It's like the song is playing and then they occasionally jump in and sing. They don't always sing it, but it's not called.
It's sampling. What?
What's that called when you don't actually sing in the mic?
Lip sync.
Lip sync. It's not lip syncing, but it's like, I don't know. Anyways.
Well, your boy, who passed, that you were crazy about.
Luther Vandross?
No.
Oh. Woo! Reveal. Ew.
No, not him. The rapper. He just recently passed, or a couple of years ago. He did the thing. He did Stings. He sampled Sting songs.
Oh, Juice WRLD.
Yeah, and see.
Don't get me talking about.
No, but I'm just saying. Yeah. When I first heard it, I said that's Sting, and Sting was the lead singer for Police back in the 70s.
Right, but that was his melody.
Right,
that was his music,
and he sampled it. Right,
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, well,
so a lot of music that like our kids would hear, okay, and they would go, Dad, you need to listen to this, and I go, well, that's so and so. Or that's so and so, and they go, "How you know?" I said, "Because they sampled this from a band that was back in the 70s or 80s."
But that's different. I'm saying when like they're in concert and they're at a show and they're singing, they're not sampling their own sound. They're playing their music in the background, and then they're jumping around the stage mostly. And every once in a while, that's not sampling. But I understand.
It is still sampling. They're using it in their product, but when they're live. They just have it on a I can't think of the name of it.
They're playing their music in the background.
Right. Yeah. It's the same difference.
Sampling is when you actually need to pay somebody to use a snippet of
Well,
their
that's
melody.
why he got sued.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's why Sting said he put all his grandchildren through college, and then of course.
Well, that one song he bought, that castle he has in England, from that one song. But it's all still. If you take something from something else. You're taking it, you're sampling it from that and putting it over here.
I know what sampling is. I was just
so as long as
live concert.
Live concert, they just play it on a loop, on a machine, and then they rap in front of it, or they sing in front of it, or they have that.
But we're used to watching. You go to the concert and you're watching the Eagles, and they're singing the entire song through the entire concert. Yeah. Or
for
whatever.
3 hours.
For 3 hours.
For 3 hours.
They're performing and singing.
3 hours. No break.
3.
No intermission.
Hours. Like Tina Turner. Tina Turner is an icon as far as female performing. I didn't see her live, but I saw her filmed live. But she is a massive performer as far as being able to sing and those vocals
so was
and
Prince.
Dance.
Prince stayed on the age. I said age. On the stage. On the stage. I saw him 3 times. He stayed on the stage for 4 hours.
I mean,
didn't take a break.
Singing.
And Frankie Beverly and Mays. I saw them in Richmond with a buddy of mine. He stayed on. They had to actually take, and he got to the point where he said, "I know they want me to leave, but I'm not leaving because I'm not tired." He was on that stage almost
That's
4.5
cool.
hours, 5 hours, and that's a band. I mean, this you got one guy
Yep.
singing for that amount of time.
Can
Where
you
now you
imagine?
go to a rap show is what for one entertainer maybe 40
I
minutes,
mean,
30 minutes max.
the sets at a festival are no more than 15 minutes
See,
per
yeah.
artist because that's at a festival.
No, but I'm talking about when
at
we
their
went
own
to
show,
yeah,
though.
like
Yeah.
we went to see somebody downtown. I think the main guy was on what maybe 30 minutes after he
Yeah,
had
not
after
long.
30 minutes. Now you're talking about bands who actually jumping around, dancing, blowing in the instruments, playing instruments. Try to play a guitar. Try to strum a guitar for
Now,
3.5 hours straight.
so that we don't get too much hate.
No. I like rap music.
I do too. And that's all I'm trying to do is explain the philosophy and the mindset that, we have behind where we came from.
I like hearing instruments.
I do
live.
too. And
that's all it is.
I love
it's
it.
nothing about the music because I have just as much rap from old school to new school as most anybody.
We both do.
But I just like the fact that you have that much talent
And
because it's like
performing for that long.
It's like a choir. If anybody watching has ever been in a choir or been to church and saw a chorus sing, you have no idea how much talent and time that takes to have everything meld together for a performance. I can hit one bad note when I got 4 other guitars playing it, and you will hear it.
Yep.
So it's a skill set that to have all these instruments come in at the same time, leave out at the same time, pick back up, from a bridge to a chorus to an intro. It's amazing that they can do that.
Very cool
for that long period of time.
Yep. It is. And I mean, geez, even like the concerts that you and I have seen over the years, just crazy, just thinking about the performances and stuff. And, so when we do get to, see, that's the thing. We saw Dave Matthews, you and I.
Yeah. But I saw him back in Charlottesville when he wasn't Dave Matthews. I mean, nobody really knew who he was.
But when we go to Rolling Loud or Summer Smash, we are so busy getting the interviews and speaking with people backstage that we hardly get to see a lot of the performance on stage.
No, then I'm watching you and I'm watching Cameron and make sure the camera's this or the record or the mic's this.
Now, you weren't there at Summer Smash last year. We saw Cameron and I was like, I've got to see Uzi. Come on.
Golden was there because you said he asked where was your husband. Wasn't it Golden or who was it?
I don't remember. All I'm talking about is Uzi. At the end of the last day, we were there out in the. Cameron's like, we can sneak back in, Mom, if you want to see Uzi. And I'm like, yeah, let's sneak in. So we left Summer Smash, and then we walked down the edge, and then it's Cameron and I, and I think not Peter. I don't know.
It'd be me, not I.
No, you weren't there.
No, it'd be Cameron and me, not Cameron and I. Because if you said a sentence and say I, it'd be me.
Anyway, we get out. I forget who was with us. It was just 3 of us. We get out and we're watching Uzi. Want me to freaking focus. We're watching him and I'm like, oh my God. And I was so starstruck with it. And he's jumping around. And it's like so crazy.
Yeah, but those guys, they're talented. To do what they do, it's just different. Yeah. But to do what they do, they're talented. And to think up the things that they think up, they're extremely talented. Yeah. It's not that I disregard one for the other. It's just different.
It is so different. And that's what it's just different. Hard. But you know what I wish? I wish that the younger generation would be more open to listening to some of the bands and things that we listen to, so that they can have a better understanding.
Some of them do because you can tell in their music and what they sample or what they add to their music.
I'm talking about the audience.
Oh, the audience.
Yeah, I mean the musicians know. They know.
Well, that has a lot to do with what you hear in your house. See, remember I told you the little ones, they would go to bed listening to jazz and old school stuff, and then that's how they both know. Yeah. That type of music. But if they don't hear it, because if you talk to any artist, whether it's, modern day rapping artist or old school rapping artist or, band or Aerosmith or whoever it happens to be, somebody still left from the Beatles or whatever, they will all tell you that they grew up in a house with music or they heard music somewhere.
Yeah.
And it gives you some type of pattern in your brain, I think, that, okay, you have an appreciation for all type of music. You may only play one type of music, but you have an appreciation because if you listen to very good bands, they have taken music from all these different people who came before them and put it together to make it their own.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Because when I play something upstairs and I say, well, what is it? And you say, I think it's this. And I tell you, oh, it's just something I made up.
Yeah.
But it's a little piece from there, a little piece from here. And a little
You're
piece.
playing on the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the piano's not here.
Yeah.
I have to get the piano.
Yeah.
We have to get the piano.
We do.
It's at my father's.
Yep. We definitely got to get the piano.
Yeah.
But, no, it's just hard for, I think, some people to understand. And then they say to me, you don't understand the streets. You don't understand the life on the streets. They're singing, they're singing about what's on the streets. But when I hear you mofo, you and this, you this, that, every other word.
Yeah, but some of them haven't even grown up on the streets.
Well, I know. And I mean, some people say, well, you don't understand what they've gone through and this and that. We're not blind to the world. Our eyes are very open.
Well,
and we
understand. A good part of my younger years, I was in D.C., Southeast. So you can't tell me I don't know craziness because it was crazy in part of the Southeast that we lived in.
Well, you were downtown when Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Not when he was assassinated, afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah.
And so just because you reach a certain age, you take for granted that, okay, I may be at a certain level now, but you don't know where I was when I was 20 or 18 or 17 or 19 years old. You just take it for granted that you see what you see now in front of you is what I've always been. And that's not true. And you've known that from meeting friends that I've been around for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, the same with me. My eyes haven't been blind. I did not go to an all white school or anything crazy like that.
I did.
You did.
They bust me.
They bust you out. It was called
James Madison.
James Madison Middle School. Yeah. But the point is we've both been in a very diverse.
There was 2 of us in the whole school.
At James Madison at the time?
2. That was it. In the whole entire school.
1976?
No, 76.
You were in middle school in 76.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
then you're trying to tell somebody's age.
Oh, I don't know where. Okay, whatever. I don't know.
But no, what my thing was, they had middle school was junior high.
It was called junior high in our day.
So junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So out of 3 grades, there was one other person that looked like in the whole entire scope. Yeah, that was it.
That's crazy.
And we stayed there for half a year until there was a commotion because we lived in a community that only had 3 black families. And we were the 3rd family moved in there. So when they decided that school needed to be integrated, they bused me from that school to a school in downtown of Marlboro. That was totally different. Totally different.
That's where I went.
Yeah, but it was 2 of us. Out of 3 grades, it was 2 of us in that whole entire junior.
Is that counting your brother too?
No, because he was younger.
He wasn't there yet.
Yeah, he wasn't there yet.
Doesn't even count Kevin.
Yeah, he wasn't there yet. He wasn't.
Well, it's interesting because we don't. It wasn't a thing for us. Like no one looked at each other. No. It was just different. I mean, there was racial tension, but I mean, we came from a community that was so well bonded that everybody just. Well,
most of the people.
I mean, there was still underlying.
There was craziness there, but most of them. When we moved from there from the city to there.
Yeah.
It was the people. Most of the people there were cool.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was a good community, and
good community, good people. But
and it was really just, I don't know. It was just, gosh, it felt so comfortable and so safe. Back in the day, like you really felt.
Yeah, and then later on, you find out what was actually going on in the community. It was like craziness. Some of it I knew about, some of it I didn't. Because people had to leave high school, families had to move because of drug situations.
Oh, people get in trouble for drugs.
Well,
and,
they get in
yeah.
trouble for selling drugs, and somebody stole somebody's drugs
Oh,
that they
yeah.
had planted.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of like in a community that you thought,
Yeah, on the outside, yeah, there was nothing. It's like it was like idyllic.
It's just like when people
It's
say,
just
"Oh,
normal.
you go to Catholic school, and that's the perfect place to be, a Catholic private school or any type of a private school, and there's no harm there, and
There's
there's
harm
no."
everywhere.
You are blind if you think
just under the surface.
It's just under the surface if you think that you're going to pay for your child to go to private school and they'll be banished from anything harmful. Nothing will ever happen in a private school. You are misunderstood. You're
how
mistaken.
Did we get on this when you're talking about music?
Oh, you talked about the community.
Oh, yeah.
You started going into the community and the people.
Yeah.
But anyways, we talked about diversity and our upbringing and, you know, how it was so intertwined. And tell them what your dad told your mom about schools.
That we couldn't go.
She was.
Well, this is when we were in the city.
Yeah.
And
in D.C.
In D.C. And I was getting ready to go into junior high. And in D.C., you had to take a city bus. So I had to take 2 transfers. DC Transit was what called back then. So I actually had to be on a bus with grown people, with normal people. And my mom was like, And my mother was a school teacher. And she's like, not having it. So we going to have to move. So when that conversation came up, he's like, well, I'm going to send them to private school, you know, my brother and me. And my dad's like, no. He says, because life wasn't private. You have to learn how to deal with all type of people, which you do.
Yeah.
And so he said, if you send them to private school, then they will only know one type of person or one type of group of people who can afford to go to a private school. So he's no. He's like, my kids, my boys aren't going to, he said, my sons aren't going to private school. So then we ended up moving to Maryland. And then that's how we ended up in Maryland. But she was adamant that Wendell's not getting on a DC transit. Two city transfers. He's not doing it. Because I'd have had to leave at 6:30 in the morning to get to a school that started at 9, just to cross the city. You know, so but the elementary school we were in, you know, we walked 5 city blocks. But it was mid city in mid part of southeast, almost in the southwest, that I would have to go to go to that school. And she was like, nope, too much craziness goes on there. Because people were getting stabbed.
Yeah.
You know, back then people had these big bushes and they had these things called rakes that they used to fluff out their bush.
We called them picks.
Yeah. Well, see, but then they had it wasn't one piece. You know how you used to have a handle and the pick come out this way?
Yeah.
Well, it was like and it came down like that and the handle was out here and it was metal.
Oh.
And they had metal whatever, little briskets in where you did your hair. And they were stabbing people with them. so yeah, the halfway through 6th grade, you know, before I had to go, you know, to get out of 6th to go to 7th grade to go take transfers to get to that school, they were stabbing people, the kids.
Stabbing people with their hair.
Yeah, they were fighting on a city transit bus with grown people. With the picks, and they were stabbing people in the neck and cutting them and doing all type of crazy stuff.
What the hell for?
They were just crazy. Oh. You know, because in the city, and anybody who watches this is from DC, this old school, they will understand that you had sections in the city. Like, you know, Southeast didn't get along with this certain part. This part of Southeast I was in, you know, it was another part of Southeast before you went over the Potomac, Anacostia. And those people down there didn't get along with us. We used to call them river rats because the water down there, it was a breeding ground for rats. So anybody that lived in Anacostia, which was basically south, they were river rats.
Ugh.
So you'd have these fractions because eventually you're almost if you're in the Southeast, you ended up going to the same junior high school. You went to different elementary schools, but you're gonna end up at the same. And then people just beefing. You know, they weren't shooting people back then, but they sure enough was sticking you with them rakes and whatnot.
So I just did a whole bunch of reactions to rappers dissing each other. one rapper was doing a blah, 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 about you this, you that, and he killed you and you killed him, and we killed his cousin because we're getting back at you, and the other one is a response to that diss and rapping diss back and forth. So he's dissing this rapper, and they're talking literal songs, raps, songs that they and Cameron had me look at, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense. You're putting out a song to diss each other. So back in the day,
they had no beef with each other before that.
They had a beef because this one's cousin helped kill
okay.
this one.
Okay.
And since you killed my cousin, I'm going to kill your cousin.
Okay.
And they think that this continual diss back and forth. And that's how some of these young rappers have been killed, because they've been in a beef over that. So it's escalated from sticking somebody in their hair pick to now you're killing people in the streets because of a diss.
Yeah, and the gun stuff is another subject that we can talk about later. But they don't have any skill set as far as shooting people, because they just go out and shoot people. See, we didn't do that. You fought somebody. It's a whole lot tougher for you to stand in front of another person and hit them, because the likelihood of you getting hit back is really good. Because you would have all these people around you, watching, because it's like, okay, you meet me on this corner, at such and such time after school,
right?
And we're gonna
not
go
with
at
a gun, or
no,
knife.
no, it's with these,
yeah,
and we go at it. So whoever happened to hear it at that time, and whoever they spread it to, would be on that corner, even if because the way our school was situated, some people went that way up the street, up Alabama Avenue, for people who were from DC, and then some people went down Alabama Avenue that way towards Fairfax Village. So the people who went down that way, if the fight was up here, they was going up this way, because everybody wanted to see the fight, because you couldn't fight on school property.
You didn't do that.
What?
Fight.
Sometimes you had, because people would call you out. They would say,
you actually got in a fight in elementary school?
Yeah.
You got called out? What?
It was over something stupid. Yeah. But dude was just running his mouth. Fifth grader, just running his mouth. See, back in the day, you had I don't know how it is now. Well, I remember how it was when the kids were in school.
Grade.
Right, fifth grade.
Okay,
So what would happen is you have these reading sessions, and the teacher would call you up, and you had like 1, 2, and 3. And 1 would be the highest reading thing. Basically, if you were 3 and you were in the 5th grade, you're basically on the 2nd grade reading level. Okay, 3rd grade.
Yeah, I remember that.
So what would happen is the people would tease the people. If you were in 1 and 2, they always teased the 3s. So I was in 2. Okay, I don't know why I was in 2, because I can read, but I was in reading group 2. Okay, so dude in reading group 3, he wasn't very bright. I don't know if he could read or not, but he wasn't very bright. And so he would always jump and pick at the people in 2 and 1, because he was from a different neighborhood than I was from. And so, he'd sit back and call people names and do this and that. And so when the reading groups changed, because you took your chair, you got your little iron chair, you picked it up and you walked to the front.
It's amazing how much you remember that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, and you walked because it could be embarrassing.
Okay, so you were embarrassed you remembered it. So
I was embarrassed that I was in 2 and not in 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you go to the front and you get in a circle, and that was your reading time. And then every other classmates, they did other work. He would be back there, because he sat beside me. He'd be back there just lipping. What's his
name? Do you remember? Wouldn't it be funny if you could find him?
I could find I remember the murderer's name that ended up sitting.
The murderer?
Yeah, his name was David McNair.
David McNair was a murderer.
Yeah. He
in
did.
Your school?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was afraid of him. But
When did he murder someone? You're just speaking about 5th grade. We were just
probably
talking about nonviolent fist fighting.
Probably when I was in college.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyhow, I'll tell you that later. But what happened is when you had to walk by people, right? And so you walking by with your chair to get back to your desk. So dude, it was 2 of us. So we walk by and he takes his chair and he slams my chair and slams the other guy's chair, right?
Ooh.
So when he slammed my chair, I kind of fell into the desk of the other guy. And then you know how little kids are, ooh,
Yeah. Ooh,
right.
ooh.
So I couldn't just not say nothing.
So you said.
So I took my chair and
You
hit
were,
no, I took my chair and hit his chair back, right? And then everybody's like, fight, fight, fight.
Oh, yeah.
So dude, he goes to the front and the teacher's trying to come. He said, I see you around the corner.
How do you remember the exact?
Because it was the first fight I was ever in.
Oh my God.
Right. So I go, and this 5th grade. And so now I'm like, okay, now I'm in a position where
Skinny little Wendell.
yeah, because I was skinny. I wasn't as tall, you know.
I know.
Yeah, I spurted later. But you know, he was about my size. So we go, you know, after school, because I was a patrol.
Oh,
Right.
Did you get your badge taken away?
No, they never found out about it because you go 2-3 blocks away from school, then
Oh.
nobody ever know. And you did it after
You get in trouble if you're a patrol. You get your badge taken away.
but you did it after
okay.
after roll call.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't know what roll call is, once you get to your stations and you people across the street, they say roll call, and then the furthest one away would come down to the next block, to the next block, to the next block, and then you go home. So we were 3 blocks away from school. And so I had to go that way anyhow, because that's the way I live. And so we go we go up there, and dude ain't there. You know, you got like, I don't know how many people. It was a small group, and well, I thought it was a small group. And then all of a sudden you see this other group coming up, and he still ain't there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going home. So I turn to walk away, and then this other little group comes up with this guy, and he comes up there and he's doing all this and walking. He said, so you gonna leave? You want, you know, something like that. You're not gonna say. And so I didn't say a word. So he just walked up to me, and he walked up like this, right? So I just punched him in his eye. And so next thing I know,
it wasn't the kid that.
It was him.
Oh, it was him.
Yeah, it was him.
Oh.
So I punched him in his eye, and then his friends are yelling at him to get up, get up, get up, get up. And he just laid there, crying, just laid there. And so I go to him and I said, are we done? And he says, no, I'm getting up. So I back up, and he never got up. He just stood, he got on a knee and just stood there, just on a knee, just crying. So his boys picked him up and then tried to throw him at me. And then he ran away. He turned around and ran right through the crowd and ran home. But I was in school with a bunch of kids. It was another guy that had a wooden leg. And so we had community pools because you couldn't go to the private schools because of how I looked in my neighborhood.
Private schools or pools?
Private pools, I'm sorry.
Okay.
At the YMCA, we weren't allowed to go to the YMCA.
Because you were black.
Right.
Okay.
So we go to public schools. Pools. So what dude would do, his left leg from the knee down, he would unscrew it. And it was wooden leg, wooden foot.
Was he white kid or black?
No, black kid.
Okay.
Black kid. And he would he would take it and just splash it in the water and scare people to death. Because they didn't know, because you know, at school he wore pants. He never wore shorts.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But he was funny. He I can't think of his name. But David McNair I can never forget because I scared death of him. Because he was a 5th grader, but he looked like he ought to be in high school. That's how big he was. But he went to jail because he robbed this elderly woman, snatched her purse, and in the act of snatching her purse, she had a heart attack and died.
Oh.
Yeah. So they gave him, I think, like 20 to life.
It's so crazy. I think about, now it seems like changing the subject or
Like we
morphing
haven't
over.
changed
Yeah. Just looking at some of the stuff that, I'm not, Facebook crazy, but the only reason I'm on there is to see my granddaughter and my grandson, pictures of them that are put up by their parents and stuff. But I am part of a group that's part of our high school. And it says, if you lived in Upper Marlboro or if you went to Frederick Douglass or whatever, and you watch some of that, and it seems like every week now there's somebody dying, and it's like so-and-so is passed away, so-and-so's brother, so-and-so's sister passed away. And it's really sad, because you're seeing all the people that, you went to school with, and it's just
everybody's getting older. Yeah.
But it's hard to look at,
like in college, I've got a lot of people that passed away that I went to school with in college.
Yeah.
So it's just
for me, it's like I look at the high school people and I'm like, gosh, they were at that last high school reunion I was at, and and how many of them are dead from that reunion? It's crazy. But it makes you when when I get so irritated in those reactions about why are these people doing this? They're shortening their life. It's because I think about stuff like that and I think,
What do you mean about shooting each other?
yeah, shooting each other and this beef and I'm going to kill you, this blank, bitty blank, whatever. It's like life's too short for that.
Well,
Why are
it's
you
easy
why
to
are
pull
you
a
doing
trigger
that?
on. It's easy to pull a trigger on somebody. It's a whole lot harder to stand in front of somebody. And if you never had to stand in front of somebody, you'll understand. It really is. Because you can win and still lose.
It's almost like you're a coward if you pull a trigger and shoot somebody, over
Well, it
some
takes
dumb
no
shit.
it takes no effort. It takes no bravery because all you gotta do is pull a trigger. Then you worry about it afterwards. Then you worry about, okay, now I'm going to jail for the rest of my life.
Well, it's just like when we watch those shows, 48 Hours.
Oh, geez.
And it's like you got 48 hours, to get them whatever. And then they bring them into the interrogation room.
And they cry like babies.
They're crying and the babies and they're out on the street and they're shooting somebody. But it's like, oh, damn, I got caught. Well, guess what? Yeah, you got caught,
Yeah. But like I said, it doesn't take any courage to pull the trigger on somebody. It takes courage to stand in front of somebody, toe to toe, and throw down with them. It does, because you can still, I could get the best of you, but you still could hurt me.
Yeah.
But if I have a gun, just pull the trigger and walk away. Only thing I can worry about is getting caught and going to jail the rest of my life. But it don't take no
That's
courage.
a lot to worry about, though.
But see, you don't think about that in the
I
moment.
don't.
Just like you don't think about, like I didn't think about hitting that guy. I didn't want to get
You
in
were fifth grade, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to get in no fight with anybody. But then, you got all your friends, and good number of people at school, gathering around to see what would happen.
Well, let's talk about when the boys, Cameron and Jordan and Jared, were in high school, all the fights. And that happened at their high school. Oh, there's a fight today. 2 girls. Oh, there's weed.
But mostly they were
everywhere.
girls fighting.
A lot of girls fighting.
Hey, it was mostly girls fighting, not guys.
But I mean, then there were guys fighting or this or that. And it's like constantly in the hallways, this and that. And
Yeah.
I don't remember that in school, though. Like in school. There were some fights at Sasser, but I don't remember.
They were all outside when I was at Sasser. They were all outside.
Do you remember fights at Douglas, though?
Yeah, but mostly it was this one crazy girl trying to fight all guys, and nobody wanted to fight her because some of the guys would have got beat. That's how tough she was. And then if you fight a girl, what you can't gain nothing fighting a girl. But they didn't have as many fights at Douglas because everybody was interrelated. And the problem was
related.
Yeah, like
you mean
they were like cousins, first cousins, second
everybody.
cousins.
No,
a lot of people when I was
an
at
overstatement.
No, it's not.
A lot of people were related at
when
Douglas.
when I went to school there, and I told you this story about Eric.
I know, but not a lot.
It was a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot. And so if you fought somebody, you ask my brother when you get a chance. If you fought somebody, you're gonna have to fight somebody's cousin. And that's just the way it was. When I first got to Douglas, because most of the people were from downtown Upper Marlboro, the downtown Upper Marlboro area, Sugar Hill, Croom Road. They've been there forever. They grew up. We didn't grow up there. You didn't grow up in Upper Marlboro, and neither did I.
Second grade up.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, but these people had been there like for generations. So my friend, who I told you the story about how he brought home a girl in high school, and his mom said, you can't date her because you're related to her. He didn't know he was related to her because you had Haley's, you had Fords, you had Ellis's, you had Proctor's. All of them were intermingled together because they were in this small area. So at Douglas, when we first got there, if you fought somebody, there was a good likelihood you were going to have to fight a cousin or a brother. And so it was a lot of people that were related. Now, they might have been second and third cousins, but in their minds, they were still related. Like Eric's wife, she's a Proctor. She's related to Haley's. So she's not just related to Proctor's because they were all in a certain area and they all dated one another and intermingled, and they never left that. You know that. Most of the people, when I was a senior, and we were our coach was talking about what you wanted to do. What was your ambition when we graduate? You had one nut I told you about that said he wanted to blow up downtown of Marlboro, who's now in jail because he murdered his cousin. Because the cousin, remember I told you, cousin took his ladder.
Yeah.
Okay, so he stabbed him to death. But you had other people, their aspiration was to work for the school board. Not that anything's wrong with the school board, but that's all they knew because that's what their parents did.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, he rose real high at the school board, but because it was such a small rural area where that school was situated and where those people were from, when they say that you dream what you see, and it's true. You get in inner city places and you see people with stuff that are drug dealers or pimps or this and that, but then you see your dad and your mom working 2 and 3 jobs and struggling to bring food home, and you see that kind of, that's what you gravitate to if that's what you mostly see. Well, what I mostly saw with my parents were school teachers, business administrators, accountants, things like that. So I knew that if I wanted to be something like that,
Yeah.
I could be that because I could see it. And
Sure.
in the area in Upper Marlboro, where most of them work for the county, whether it was driving a truck, which is nothing wrong with it, it's a good job, good pay, working for the school board, or doing something in the school system, at like a janitorial type thing. That's how we got to shoot so much ball in the summer in leagues, because one of our best friends, he was a janitor for Douglas
Right.
and would let us in. So if that's what you see, that's what you think you can aspire to.
Yeah.
And so their idea of working for the school board, county job, pension,
Benefits.
yeah,
Health benefits.
Yeah.
Things like that.
that's a good damn job.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it. So that's what I was saying, that because we weren't from there, we were from DC, so we saw different people. And then when we moved to Maryland, those same people would come out and visit with my dad. So you saw these people. Like I said, you saw architects, accountants, attorneys, business administrators, teachers, PhDs, because my mom's principals were PhDs and things. So you could see, okay, I can do that.
Right.
Because I see it.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at people robbing and mugging people,
Yeah.
and saying, well, they making money
Well,
and
there's
these people
definitely
are.
something to people that's a whole nother deep subject.
Well, it
about
is.
What you see is what you're going to be, and then you have to go a different way. And we just saw that thing on 60 Minutes last night about that guy in Chicago who's funding this new
Those 5 high schools.
those 5 high schools, and
Grad-
he
senior
went
class.
in. He's he's like a billionaire, and
Yeah.
it was on 60 Minutes last night. And I forget his name, but he went into these high schools and he called them into the auditorium and said, "I'm going to change your life forever." And he said, "You will not have to pay for your college education at all. And oh, by the way, because they're trying to change the landscape of,
Trying to break a cycle.
yeah, break that cycle, they're also going to pay for college for one of their parents if they have a parent that wants to go to college." So, I mean, this is a white man in a predominantly Black community who is going in and assisting people
Who have the grades.
who have the grades
And earn the
who
grades.
aspire to go to college.
Yep.
But
can't.
those kids on that show last night, I'm crying, breaking down in tears, watching them cry because they're sitting in the audience crying, knowing that they have a dream that can be fulfilled now because they can go to college. But they didn't. To your point, they were not seeing that. They just had no hope. They were like,
No,
I can't pay for college. They had
hope, but they didn't know how they're going to get there. And then what he said, the reason I paused it for you to see, is because you hear people.
Yeah, Tammy, come watch this. You're probably gonna cry,
Right.
and it's really good.
Yeah.
And of course, I did cry.
Yeah. But it
was really good.
Because what I get tired of people saying, well, and it depends on how you were raised, where you come from, and some of it's race and some of it isn't. But when you hear people say you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and when the guy said that if he was a different shade or a different color in a different neighborhood, not just a different color, but a different color in a different neighborhood, which makes a difference to what I was saying.
Yep.
That he wouldn't have made it the way he made it. And he said that the problem with saying that, certain people who make it say, well, everybody should be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. He said, well, it's hard to do that if you don't have boots.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's easy if you have boots. You can pull them up. But if you don't have the opportunity to even get a pair of boots and you walk in barefoot, how can you pull them up?
It's a good analogy, and I mean it makes sense, and it really is true. And we didn't have. I think the mindset, the game's changed. Our high school now is putting out. Frederick Douglass is putting out so many scholars and athletes. It is. I'm so proud of our high school, and it is, the legacy is just amazing there. But they are being mentored by the staff and the parents, and they're getting a lot of support, the kids that are at that high school today. But when you look at what it was like when we were in high school. You went to the guidance counselor. It's like, okay, here's your guidance counselor appointment for your pre-college application appointment. And you had this major appointment with your guidance counselor to sit down and talk about what you wanted to do. And then you started all your college applications. And
or have a college counselor tell you that you can't go to college.
Mine basically looked at me and said, well, you can try to apply, but I doubt you're getting in anywhere.
Well, mine told me, because I wanted to be an architect. That's what I thought I wanted to be anyhow. And I sit down and she's like, so you play basketball, right? I said, yeah. And she said, well, you have people looking. I said, yeah. And she goes, well, what do you want to be? And I said, an architect or a fire jumper, because I wanted to jump out of planes and put out fires, forest fires. I wanted to work for the forestry department. And she said, well, I don't think you had a skill set to be an architect. And so as soon as I graduated from Old Dominion, as soon as I did that, and I went back there to teach, be a substitute teacher, I made sure she understood.
Was she there?
Yeah, she was still there.
Oh, okay.
That I graduated. It was only 4 years later. Where the hell she going? Ooh. Oh, I can say hell.
Yeah. No, they can go a lot of places. Teachers can move around. But I mean, there wasn't a lot of encouragement. I mean, back then, people just didn't encourage you to.
No, they were easy to tell you what you couldn't do.
It was just a kind of this is what you do. You go to have this appointment, then you go to apply for colleges, and then that's it. It wasn't, it was stupid.
Foolishly.
I need to see how long we've been online because I need to keep it. What does it say down there? 56 minutes? Oh, we've been talking for almost an hour. You have, mainly.
No, I haven't.
Mostly, yeah.
I never out-talk you.
Today you did.
How my hair look?
It's okay.
Hey, looking shiny.
How's your hair?
Looking shiny.
Get this new razor. Maybe we can get a sponsor for it. I don't know, but you forgot to shave all of this. But anyway.
Yeah, sponsor. Are they a sponsor a razor? The thing here?
Yeah, we're not going to mention it to them, but maybe we'll send them a video clip and say, hey, guess what we can do for you?
With 2 people watching.
Yeah, we don't have that many viewers yet, but we're going to. We're getting kind of controversial. We're having some topics that are kind of interesting, don't you think?
I don't know. I guess it's what they think.
I mean, I don't know. To me, what is life then versus what is life now? And back then, if I wanted to talk to Wendell, I had to go to the phone and I had to dial the number, and pick up the phone. And, it was a cord that led you to a wall phone.
Yeah, push button.
Or dials. We had
push button. When you dials?
We had dials.
In high school, you had dials? Not in high school.
Maybe in middle school.
Yeah, in high school, we had push buttons.
But anyway,
because it's the same phone that's on Pop's house now.
Yeah, that your home phone is still at the house.
Still yellow with a yellow cord that you hang on the wall.
Ours was bright canary yellow.
That's what ours was, yellow.
Yeah.
With a yellow canary bathroom.
It was a different time.
Yellow toilet.
So many differences. And we're not saying that movement and change, you've got to move and change. It's just that sometimes the foundations and sometimes, looking back and getting people to understand why I might have my point of view or you might have your point of view, and the backlash I get for the reactions, it's a valid thing because we just weren't part of a generation that it was completely different.
In certain ways.
A lot of ways. But it was different than our parents. And then now our kids were different. And, it's so on and so on and so on. So it's ever changing.
Well, that's what I said in a way.
Yeah.
Because they probably thought we were crazy to the music that we listened to versus the music.
I know they did, yeah.
That they were listening to. But my parents, my mom in particular, we listened to her music. And we danced to her music. When we were little, she would be in the middle of the floor playing Tom Jones.
My mom loved herself some Tom Jones.
Otis Redding.
Yes.
And all these other people that are still in that house. She would just dance around the room with Kevin and I.
Yeah.
So you learn that music, then you learn your music, and then as you get older, you learn different music, and it just keeps on. And that's why the kids, the twins. That's why now Jared doesn't listen to jazz, but Jordan does. He listens to jazz.
He knows a fair amount of old school music. Jordan does probably.
But 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
No? Were you a 3?
No, well, I didn't do that for Leah. I turned, the stations changed. So what really happened, part of what happened is that the station that played the music that I liked and they liked during the day, by the time they got ready to go to bed, it got nasty. The DJs changed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You had the late,
shift,
because I guess they were saying it was just adults listening.
Yeah.
And they were nasty and saying things that a kid shouldn't be listening to.
Which is what I say now today.
Yeah.
About some of the stuff.
So what I did was, I said, okay,
we're gonna play some jazz.
This is what we're gonna listen to. But Leah listened to jazz, when we were in the car and things like that. But the boys came at a time, because they're 6 years younger, that when they were going to bed, they couldn't listen to the radio station that they were allowed to listen to. And they had a blast. I mean, because their friends my house was the kid house for the most part.
Yeah.
So I had a blast with them. They'd tell me all their little personal business, or, Leah and her girlfriends would talk all their personal stuff in front of me. And they knew I wasn't going to say anything. And that was their little private time. I just, blessed that they thought enough of me to even say stuff in front of me.
It's different. It's different now. And
you got to be a parent. I ain't your friend. Yeah. I'm your dad.
Well, we're going into another podcast topic, and this one's over. So we're going to end this.
Bye-bye.
That's how much he thinks of you. Hey, subscribe, smash that like button.
Because right now we only got 3 viewers.
We have just a few.
Well, I'm sorry, we got 6.
We have lots of different stories.
Yeah, we got 6, right? 6
At
viewers.
least 6 viewers.
Yeah, we got 6.
We've had a few viewers.
So if y'all could pump us up to like 8.
Yeah.
8 to 10.
Make a comment. Comment down below. Give me some feedback.
That'd be helpful.
Right, honey?
Yeah. Honey, Wendell.
Okay. All right, guys. Peace. Love you. Thanks for watching. What's this?
People who know it know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, tell the people who don't know.
No, they had to figure it out. Research
Okay.
it. Give them something to do over the holidays.
Okay. Research it. Freaking holiday. All right. Peace. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Cup half full.
Zeros, 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 zeros.